Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar concerning how management and biosecurity can contribute to a healthy poultry production. My name is Claus Andersen and I'm Sales Director in Vilofoss. Today's presentation will be given by Plamen Nikolov and Jan Van Spil, who are our specialists into biosecurity and animal health. They both have worked with these topics for more than 20 years. During the webinar, it's possible for you to ask questions in the chat, and after the presentations, we will try to follow up and answer as many questions as possible. The session will also be recorded and sent to you afterwards together with the presentation. Enjoy the webinar, and Plamen and Jan, please, the word is yours.
Unmute.
Hello, everybody. And against in front of the production, and also how we can contribute to solve those challenges with biosecurity and especially with Stalosan application. As you see from the chart, poultry meat actually is one of the most consumed animal protein sources around the world. Leaders in the consumption are Israel, Malaysia, and Peru. But overall, also the tendency for all countries is that poultry meat is the most preferred animal protein source. Also, poultry meat production is developing very fast and very rapid. From 1961 to 2018, it has grown over 6 times. And during the Hanover Messe, we got a message that actually it is expected to increase the global poultry production with 30% by 2050. As you see on the map, actually poultry production leaders in the world are Brazil, United States, and China. What is actually interesting that Russia actually is catching up and become one of the largest poultry producer nowadays. It is more or less the same situation with egg production. Again, Brazil, United States, and China, together with India in this case, are leading the world, but also Russia is catching up quite fast. What are the challenges for the global poultry production? On the first place, those are diseases. And actually, avian influenza is one of the most important diseases which plays a role for the poultry production nowadays. It also is important because it poses a threat to the human life and health, and it is really very difficult to maintain this disease. On the map below, you can see that actually there are quite a lot of new cases, actually 410. New cases of high pathogen avian influenza virus was actually found only for the period from 15th of January till 4th of February in 23 countries. And additionally, there are 739 ongoing cases which are not actually closed. So other challenge for the poultry production are the pathogens Salmonella and Campylobacter, which actually are responsible for human foodborne diseases. And actually one of the most important concerns nowadays of people is the development of resistant bacteria because of overuse of antibiotics. COVID-19 also played an important role in poultry production, similar to the other animal production. It affected consumption, transport, and the economics of poultry farming. Nowadays, great attention also is given to restrict the infectious brucell disease, because actually the virus causing this disease belongs to the same family as coronavirus. So there is a concern that actually both viruses can exchange some genetic information, and it is not known what will happen in the future if this happens. The other challenge is also a ban of several anticoccidials, chemical anticoccidials, which plays an important role to reduce the outbreaks of coccidiosis. And actually, this is one step which will follow another for banning additional anticoccidials in the future. Another challenge is, of course, the continuous increase of the feedstuff cost. And actually, it also affects the food for people. What is the solution? Actually, poultry production needs to focus on consumer confidence, product quality, and food safety in order to have a sustainable production further on. Disease control is a basic element for improving animal production and food safety. And in this case also, it influenced the human well-being. The way to prevent introduction of disease and further spread of pathogens is strict biosecurity. From the graph on the left-hand side, you can see the key elements of animal production, where biosecurity is one of them, together with genetics, nutrition, and environmental control. And of course, management is the tool which combines and leads all those four elements in a proper way. Biosecurity actually is something which is adopted by many countries around the world as one of the most important features in animal production. There are also regulations in many countries around the world which actually force the farmers to follow biosecurity measures. And a basic biosecurity strategies are available to the farmers from the side of the authorities. Biosecurity may sound a little bit threatened, but actually this is a management and practices which focus on prevention of disease introduction and further spread of pathogens across the farm. There are five main principles of biosecurity. First of them is separation. This is the way how most effectively to stop the way of pathogens entering the farm. Normally, it is made by separating the farms into black and white zone. Black means the administrative area and the premises where all visitors have access to, and white zone actually is a very restricted zone where only restricted number of personnel can enter and just take care about the animals. Second principle is reduction of pathogen pressure. This is very important because actually high pathogen pressure normally can lead to disease outbreak. Third principle is focusing on most important, economically important pathogens, because it is difficult to take care about all kind of pathogens and provide a good prophylactic measure against it. So that's why focus is quite important in implementing biosecurity system into the farm. Frequency is another principle. That means that actually when you have some issue which happen more frequent than the other, it is more likely that this feature or this issue will become more important in a way to transmit diseases into the farm. For example, if you have a consultant visit, regular consultant visit, it could be regarded as a high risk because actually people who get into the farm very often are able to get different kind of pathogens together with them. Then scaling large flocks normally is more difficult to be secured because the incidence is to have a contact with the pathogens is much higher than with the small scale flocks or farms. So this is also one of the principles which should be followed in biosecurity system. So talking about Stalosan actually can play a very important role in separation, because Stalosan can be used for a boot disinfection in front of the farm and also in front of the buildings inside the farm. It is also very important that Stalosan is in a powder form. So you know that during the winter in Europe we have quite low temperatures where liquid disinfectant can frozen, but in contrary, actually Stalosan remains active in a very low temperatures. Then reduction of pathogen pressure. This is one of the most advanced benefits of the product. Normally, if you have new animals, you also have a new bacteria or new pathogens which are coming together with the animals. During the production cycle, they start to multiply and reaching a certain level or certain quantity, they can actually lead to a disease outbreak. On the other hand, actually Stalosan application, reducing the pathogen pressure, killing the pathogens and thus reducing the pathogen pressure on the animals. Focus on important bacteria. Actually, Stalosan gives us some relief on this issue because of its broad spectrum efficacy. Here on the slide, you can see different pathogens where Stalosan has been tested and it has been found effective against it. We have a huge list of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and also it happened that Stalosan is effective against the eggs of parasites, and also it is capable to kill the fly larvae. So having Stalosan in hand during the production cycle is really something very helpful for the farmers. The frequency, normally when you have effective disinfectant in place like Stalosan during the production cycle, you can reduce the pressure or high importance of introducing the new pathogens into the farm. On the left lower corner, you can see a very old test showing actually that if Stalosan is used after the cleaning and disinfection, it can give a very good reduction of microbe count 1 week after the animals are present in the building. Also, we have plenty of information from the practice where it is seen that Stalosan is capable to reduce significantly the cases of mortality of different pathogens like E. coli, Salmonella, and Coccidia. And also we have another test coming from broiler breeders where Clostridium infection, Salmonella, and Coccidia again are significantly reduced. And fifth principle of scaling, Stalosan on the first place can really play an important role of breaking the transmission of pathogens from one building to another or from one flock to another. But it is also very important that except the disinfection properties of Stalosan, it can also control the ammonia emissions and humidity in the litter. In this way, actually, Stalosan can help to improve the animal welfare and most importantly, the health status of the animals. So when the animals are healthy, it is less likely that scaling have so important role actually in the poultry production. Then we have some another features except those 5 principles of biosecurity. One of them is the non-selective action of Stalosan efficacy against different pathogens. Here you can see that actually we have a very good efficacy trial against avian influenza virus, against infection bursal disease, as well as against Coccidia. So Stalosan can kill not only a different type of pathogens, but it also can be used to reduce the resistant strains of bacteria or Coccidia, which are very important in order to reduce the pathogen pressure to the animals. Also, Stalosan have a broad spectrum efficacy, as I mentioned, especially for poultry. It is important its efficacy against avian influenza, Newcastle disease, and infectious bursal disease. Then we have also some consequently features of Stalosan. Actually, with the Stalosan application, we can improve the poultry production results and profitability of poultry production. It is due to reduction of mortality and morbidity of the animals and improved environmental conditions. Also, Stalosan can play a role to reduce the energy cost, especially during the winter, when Stalosan is capable to reduce the ammonia emissions and humidity in the building. Then ventilation and heating the building is not necessary to be so high, and this will lead to energy savings. Then Stalosan again saves litter material, which again is a very good economical effect, and reduction of medication cost not only gives a less expenses for the farmer, but also it improves the reduction of developing of new antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria. We have also practical information that Stalosan can improve the uniformity of the animals, and also it can improve the laying rate and hatchability with laying hens and broiler breeders. Our practice shows that with brewers, Stalosan can give return of investment from 1 to 2 to 1 to 5, and with layers and breeders, which are more expensive animals, return of investment is much higher, from 1 to 10 to 1 to 17. So this is in general my presentation about efficacy of Stalosan for poultry production. And further, I give the word to my colleague Jan Van Spil, so he will give you more practical details about Stalosan application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Plamen, for this. A very good day to you all from my side also. And as Plamen mentioned, I would like to give some practical information on the use of Stalosan for a poultry farm. First of all, some information about the packaging. The Stalosan is packed in plastic bags of 15 kilograms, so 33 pounds. And a full pallet contains 66 bags. The general application of Stalosan is 50 grams per square meter. So this would be 1 pound per square feet, per 100 square feet, sorry. Housing surface on a weekly basis. This is total living surface of the birds. So for cages and for aviary systems, all system surface must be calculated as living surface. It is important to be aware of that live aerosol vaccines and Stalosan applications should be not done within 12 hours of each other. And you should also avoid Stalosan applications combined with anti-coccidiosis vaccines. In this case, you can start with applying Stalosan 1 week after full immunity against all specific strains which were present in the vaccine. But in the end, Stalosan applications for poultry is in most cases a matter of farm-specific advice. So the general applications can be in or decreased in specific farm situations. Like for instance, broilers. If you apply Stalosan to support the general health management on the farm, we recommend a first treatment of Stalosan on top of the bedding before chick accommodation, and repetitions done always 3 to 5 days prior to specific critical farm moments during the cycle. For some of the farms, this could be the different feed changes or at vaccinations or during stressful moments, for instance, at preloading of the birds. Specifically for broiler meat production, you could think of repetitions around day 14 or 28. If you apply Stalosan to give support in any kind of health problems on the farm, the number of treatments can be increased by applying Stalosan on a weekly basis. So after the first treatment prior to the chick accommodation, repetitions can be done at day 7, 14, 21, continuous during the whole cycle. But also in these cases, you should analyze well the farm circumstances to optimize the effects of Stalosan. In specific field cases, like with the support of controlling the negative effects of coccidiosis or salmonellas, we did add an extra pre-treatment on the floor under the bedding, followed by the different treatments during the cycles. Same story for application regarding breeder flocks and layers. For an optimal health and hygiene in rearing and production, we recommend a first treatment on top of the bedding prior to chick or bird accommodation, followed by repetitions twice a month. With a very low health issues, you could decrease repetitions after the first treatment, applying by Stalosan 3 to 5 days prior to farm critical moments, as there are peak of production, feed changes, and stressful moments like with extreme heat. And repetitions can also be increased in case of health problems on the farm by applying Stalosan once a week, for instance, for 2 months, followed by twice a week for the following 2 months, and return to a standard application of twice a month from the 5th month. Beside these recommendations, we also use a lot of farm-specific treatments. For example, a field case where Stalosan was used in controlling the negative influence of botulism, and here we did a specific treatment based on the experience of former cycles on this farm. Turkeys. Also here, you'll do a first application on the bedding prior to poult or bird accommodation, followed by applications 3 to 5 days prior to farm specific critical moments. Specifically for turkey meat production, you could think of repetitions at day 8 and 28. Repetitions after the first application can be increased on a weekly basis if farm-specific circumstances ask for this. For instance, with the support to control the negative consequences of blackhead, it is in most cases very difficult to predict the moment of the outbreak during a cycle. This means that positive health support is needed the whole cycle, and therefore applications must be done every week in this case. And beside broilers, breeders, layers, and turkeys, Stalosan can be profitable in using for all different species of poultry, like with genofowl, quails, partridges, pheasants, ducks, or geese, whatever poultry. In general, you can follow the applications advices as mentioned for turkey production. Again, please don't hesitate to ask our advice and experience in farm-specific situations, because in many cases a farm-specific approach does optimize the effect of Stalosan. Second important thing I would like to mention is in achieving a maximum result in the use of Stalosan is how to get the Stalosan evenly spread over the total surface of your building. And different clients have find the right tools for their specific farm situation. As there is this manual driven spreader, which is shown in this short movie. The movie in this broiler house has been shot with full light to get it on film, but normally, of course, you dim the lights a bit to not disturb the birds too much. Also, this handyman-driven, cordless, drill-driven handyman could work well for smaller housings. And of course, for application at specific places, like for instance, this farmer is doing under his drinking lines. And for the use of in his breeder cages, this client did extend the outlet of the device to better target the outflow of the machine. For the smaller housings, also a hand-driven backduster could work very well. And this manual-driven duster is also a good device for application at specific places. For instance, if you want to treat your aviary system. The three mentioned applicators work well for smaller housings, which is about up to 500 square meters, so 5,400 square feet. If you want to treat bigger houses, an electric blower like this device could be used. As shown in this movie, the supply of Stalosan is out of a bucket with this electric-driven device. But also an engine-driven backduster could do the job well, as shown in this movie on a broiler farm. And of course, specific applicators for cage production are also available in the market, as shown in this little movie, where a production cage, egg production cage, was treated with Stalosan. Please note that we do not all sell these applicators devices ourselves, but these are just examples for you to what our clients use to well applicate Stalosan in their buildings. Most of the time these devices are locally available, and otherwise we can advise you in this. We have quite some clients working with all these different applicators and also with farm-specific treatments. And with their help, we have prepared different protocols for the different situations. So this is a good help for future clients to to have their best profit in the use of Stalosan. So these protocols are available also for you. And if they're not available yet, we can prepare them for you. As Plamen did mention, another practical use for Stalosan is to use it as a boot dip. And to end up my small introduction to you of the practical use of Stalosan is this one. Please remember that as Stalosan team, we are available for technical backup for you, because it is not just the product Stalosan F, and it is not just the application device you are going to use, but it is always the combination which makes you hit bullseye in the use of Stalosan and getting the most profit out of it in using it. And this was it from my side. I thank you very much for your attention. And we've now come to the questioning side from your side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Plamen and Jan, for your presentations. Now we go to the Q&A part of this webinar. Unfortunately, I don't see on my screen any questions.
There are no questions.
There are no questions. Okay. But I would like to support the comment from both Plamen and Jan. If you have further questions after the webinar, please feel free to contact us, whatever it's about. We would like to support you the best way we can. So time for rounding off the meeting. We hope that the webinar was useful and has provided some insight and knowledge. As said in the beginning, we will send the recording to you. We will send the presentation with all the things presented today. It will come to you automatically. And then we also would like to raise the flag that we will arrange more webinars in the future, and the next one will be in 2 weeks, and it would be a webinar concerning transition cow management. So keep an eye on our website and different SoMe platforms where the invitation soon will show up. Again, thank you very much for participating. Hope to see you again. Stay safe and goodbye.